Hey guys, it's Andy here. Unfortunately, this update video will have to be really quick and dirty as Canada Day is coming up really soon and I'm leaving tomorrow and I work all day today. So we're just going to have to nail this out really quick. We have 13, 14, we have 15 new subscribers. So thank you to all of you for subscribing. Sibi, yeah, I'm not going to pronounce that. Eduardo Villegas, Hashem Al-Najar, Colin Hickey, Super Brain AK, Michael Bebenek, Foam Overcast, I don't know, Ahmed Aljub, Ali, Mr. Garriott, Madida, Fanad Alot Mani, Juan Bays, Kanatob, Amnet. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. Actually, most of these letters are supposed to be Russian letters, but I couldn't, I was in a rush writing that down, so sorry about that. But thank you for subscribing. Carte Blanche. So thank you to all of you for subscribing. I'm sorry I butchered a lot of your names. Usually I spend the time trying to figure out how to properly pronounce names before I make the video, or I'll make the video several times to try and get the naming right, but unfortunately we're a little strapped on time today. Okay, so J, aluminum copper leads, do they stick? But they're not bad. Okay, so he was asking for the spot welder, the copper leads. They do stick if with mine, but they're not supposed to. It's very rare, but it does stick and you have to clean up the contacts sometimes. So make sure that the surface has been cleaned and there's no gunk on them, because that's probably what's causing the issue. They're not bad, but I have serious problems with my spot welder. The end pen part is going to have to be replaced or redesigned at the very least. Mark Andrews, DIY Ultimate. Oh yeah, so I shared that video of that YouTuber that made the DIY Ultimate BMS Bluetooth thing, so he said thank you for that. The one video I did this big long rant about how frustrated I was about a guy who's a potential customer for buying you know, a 4S 18650 pack for his outboard or his trolling motor for his boat. And anyways, he said it's okay. So thanks, man. I appreciate it. Marcelo Antonio Baganti. So TP4056. The negatives are all. Oh yeah. So thank you for telling me that. So I've hopefully figured that out. I bought these individual buck converters, and I'm gonna see what that does, and I'm also going to try diodes on the negatives to try and isolate each TP4056. If you guys aren't sure what I'm talking about, I guess you'll have to watch all my videos because they're super long and boring. But yeah, so I'm trying to use TP4056s in series to charge up each row in series, and but you can't do that because all the negatives are just tied together, so it would short out the whole thing and blow up at least the TP4056s, or the wires will probably explode. So thank you for that. Canis Spatter Christmas. Sorry, yeah, my writing is horrible. Bruno e-bike. Oh yeah, so thank you for direct me to this YouTuber called Bruno. He does e-bikes. He has, it's pretty neat. He makes some pretty nice I guess bicycles and motorcycles that run off of 18650s and lipos, I think. So thank you. It was a very interesting channel to check out. Noel114. So that was for that idea of using MOSFET to instead of resistors on the BMS to try and balance. So I've abandoned that entire idea, so no worries on that, but thank you for the comment. Yeah, it is a bad idea. It's bad to rely on it on the VCE, definitely. It gets crazy hot. but it also burns like over an amp or 5 amps. So Mike Smith is using BitChute almost exclusively, and he only uses YouTube to watch tech related stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to switch over. I want the people in YouTube to just stop being assholes. You know, YouTube was created by its small creators. It wasn't created by big companies. So I think it's very disrespectful. And, you know, we may have to just move to a new platform because YouTube is just trying everything in its power to, you know, crush people. I don't appreciate that. Panic the Solar Knight, thank you, I appreciate it. So you like the YouTube strike idea. Yeah, I encourage any creators to, you know, modify or follow or, you know, follow that format, that idea of how I strike. So that'd be appreciated. Jay Brito. So yeah, another bash I'll make Sky Blue. I swear it's like at least 1 or 2 guys every month talks about how horrible Make Sky Blues are, and the manufacturer won't talk to them. Yeah, of course not. They got your money already. They don't care. John Cook, fan-mounted LII on Thingiverse. So that's for 3D printing. Say there'd be Thingiverse has a 3D printed mounting bracket for a fan onto the Lolito Kais. I couldn't find it, and so, you know, if someone does find it, that'd be cool. Problem and dangerous thing in the world is people in power winging it. Absolutely. So he's just saying, like, you know, with the YouTube CEO, she's definitely not qualified to run that company. So and you know, it seems like everywhere, almost every company I've worked for, the management they don't know what they're doing. They are not qualified. They wouldn't know how to run a company to save their lives, and they just run them into the ground. It's very frustrating. Beatman, for the fusing wire on the back of the holders, if you should put a strip of fireproof tape or something. Well, the drywall's there, so there's no reason to. And those fuses, the 30 AWG tinned wire, it like explodes. It doesn't like slowly heat up, right? It just pops. So there's, you know, that fuse testing video was pretty terrible. I'm gonna have to make a new one, but Average Joe makes a really good video. I think he's made 2 separate videos now of testing fuse wire, so you can check those out. Just look up Average Joe fuse wire and it'll pop right up. He uses a hairdryer. It's pretty cool. Hinge door idea. That's actually what I wanted to do, is all my walls be on like a book, be like a giant book on hinges, so you could like thumb through each page of the Powerwall and look at the batteries. It'd be pretty cool and very compact. So slots to access fuses. Yeah, it's a cost to performance issue and structural integrity. If you cut slots in the back of the Powerwall into the plywood so you can access, like, those fuses are not supposed to ever blow. The only time that they blow is if you put the battery in backwards. So there's no reason to access those fuses. They shouldn't blow, period. If they're blowing, it's because your breakers are garbage, or you're doing things you're not supposed to. So yeah, don't worry about it. You don't have to put slots in the back to access the fuses. You can do continuity tests. It takes only a minute. You know, looking at a fuse does not mean that the fuse is good. A continuity test, like a beep test of resistance, is the only way to know if a fuse has gone or not. Don't ever rely on visual for fuse, you know, making sure a fuse is good or not. Always do a beep test. So Steve 64464, CID pop, oh yeah, so his CID popped and an electrolytic oozed out. So he wants to reset the CID without touching it. You know, you never explained to me how exactly you would do that. Well, he did on Discord chat. He tried explaining it, but it still flew way over my head. So I'll have to, at the end of this video, I'm gonna do something that I promised Steve. So James, since the 70s, so he has a, I assume, a lead acid battery charger that's 12 volts slash 6 volts, and he took it all apart and he turned it into a variable power supply as well as a 12 or 6 volt charger, which is a really cool idea. I like that. You know, utilizing or multi-purposing old equipment. It's a really cool idea. He could charge up to 4.05 volts at like 8 to 10 amps. So that refers to the initial charging stage. You can go really heavy on the amperage, but as soon as you hit 4 volts, you have to taper it way down. It's like a curve, right? It goes like the amperage, high amperage, and then once you get closer to 4 volts and 4.2, it tapers down to almost no amperage, and that prevents the battery from exploding. So thank you for mentioning that. It's always good to, you know, keep that in mind. You can build your own quick chargers using these concepts. So 1S boost. So MPPT. Oh yeah, he was asking about a MPPT wind controller. I haven't even bothered to touch that yet, but no big deal. So 1S boost to 12 to 14 volts, USB out. I'm not sure if you should ever do that. The problem is that most boost converters need a lot more than 3 volts. Like you'd cut it off at 3 volts. And I think most of these, like this is a buck converter, but this one here is a boost converter, and I think you need like at least 4 volts, so you're not going to get anything out of it, unfortunately. So, you know, maybe there is a boost converter out there that can handle between 3 and 4.2 volts. That'd be cool. And then output 12 volts or 14, but that's a pretty high boost, so I don't think you should do that. 1500 watt, 48, 72 volt controller. So this is like a e-bike that he's building. 3-phase BLDC motor, 2 horsepower, 40 foot-pounds of torque. It's pretty powerful. So it's a little mountain bike. Well, not a little, but a mountain bike that he's putting this stuff on. It's pretty cool. 14 to 16 in S, lipos, 2 times 8 amp hour battery packs. That's what he's putting into it. Toyota Camry manual transmission. He wants to strap an electric motor onto that. That'll be interesting if you can do that. Well, I know you can do it. You can just rip out the combustion engine and then, you know, just shove the electric motor onto the transmission. So house generator. So he wants to build like some kind of combustion generator that has 2 150 amp alternators and 2 300 amp alternators. So that's a good idea as well. Anyways, that's all the updates. I know it's boring. We're already at 16 minutes, but no big deal. I bought a whole bunch of drywall, so everything has drywall on it now. So there's drywall everywhere, all over the place. This is all drywall. I have 4 sheets here, and then more up here for a shelving unit, which is, you know, I'm just utilizing. Then I painted this drywall here, and then I painted the desk. The desk now has drywall on the top of it, so all this is drywall. So that's good, nice fireproofing. And then I just, I took off the sides and I shifted them upwards so that they're flush with the drywall that I put on top. And you can see this gap here from that, but this desk is so old I don't care. I've had this desk for a very long time. Some dentist or doctor built it in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I got it for free from his wife and took it apart, brought it to my place, and it's traveled back to Ontario, all kinds of places. But anyways, this will be my new work area. It's good. Everything's been shifted over to this area while the paint is drying, so that's fine. Okay, one last thing. So Steve wanted to cut off the CID. I don't think that's a smart idea, but let's do it with a dead cell. Unfortunately, my good side cutters broke, so apparently they weren't very good. Alright. Pretty terrible. Garbage. I wanted to do a dedicated video to doing this for fun, but this will be fine. We'll just tear it all apart and see what we can do about it. Maybe I'll do a separate video after this one based off the findings. Oh, there's still voltage here. Yeah, you can still... That's neat. Anyways, there shouldn't be any voltage on here. These are supposed to be dead, but whatever. Gonna have to grab another one. Mainly, yeah, it's shorted out now. I think the greens are, these light green ones are probably my least enjoyed ones. Okay, there we go. Got it off. Much easier. Okay, so this is what happens when you pop the CID down. You see all that marking, that damage? So that's a CID down there. It's just a thin piece of metal that's through metallurgy and a lot of research, they know that it's the right amount so that when it gets to a certain temperature it just pops upward. Same as breakers, they utilize the exact same concepts. I honestly don't know why you'd want to pop this off, Steve. There's not really anything here. You know, it's just a thin piece of metal, right? So that's all it is. It's just a thin piece of metal. That's what the CID is. Throw that outside. Let's find another one. Let's do a red one. See what's going on. They all have X's on them. So when I see an X, I know it's garbage. They're all in their own box as well. I've been holding on to this box to do something like this, where I just have fun ripping everything apart. Because why not, you know, if they're dead. It's always good to understand how things are. It's really hard to get this thing. In case you're wondering, this is pretty much the end of the video. It's just anyone interested in, you know, cutting open the CID but don't want to do it themselves. You know, this one is very hard to pop open. It's literally just a piece of metal, and there you go, you can see that quite well. You see when you push down the CID, you dent it because it's a very thin piece of metal. So that's why it's never recommended. You're always going to puncture it, and then you've got electrolytic leaking out. So I want to find one that doesn't have the CID pushed down. Again, Steve, I'm not really sure. Interesting, eh? It's hard to tell from here. You don't get a very good... There we go, SH. Weird, eh? I'm not really sure. But this one, since it was never done, so we've cut off the top. Try and get this focus. Yeah. It's pushed down. Yeah, it's such a thin piece of metal that even just pushing it a little bit dents it. But it's hard for me to see it. I'm not really, yeah, and you can already smell the electrolytic coming out of it. Let's just go further, fuck it. Might as well get it on film. Yeah, it's getting really hot now. So it's shorted out. That's well punctured. No. Okay. And that's the CID right there. It's hard to get this thing to focus. Okay, this is the CID, you see it's this whole piece of metal is technically the fuse. I believe. It's getting pretty hot because it's punctured right there. It's funny how even though it's yeah, see, it's going black. Very interesting. There's an insulator between the two. Came off. So this is the breaker part technically, and then it makes contact with that plate down there. Pretty neat. Pretty simple solution to a problem. This battery might have been good still. But if it was good, then why was it in my bad pile? Yeah, there's still quite a voltage on here. It's getting crazy hot. I'm gonna throw it out now. Yeah, see, there's tons of voltage still in here. It's getting super hot. Neat. It's crazy how hot it can get. This one was at full voltage, I think. Yeah, don't ever mess with battery with 18650s that have gone bad. Yeah, I'm gonna have to throw this out now. It's getting too hot. Anyways, so I hope you found that interesting. And thank you to all those new subscribers. And thanks to all of you guys for watching and commenting. I really appreciate it. So, have a great day, guys.